Hey there, Aquarius. Welcome or welcome back to Stars Aligned Oracle YouTube channel. Cat Star here with your general reading for the week of February 28th through March 6th. Insane how the time is passing. As a reminder, my readings are for entertainment and are general in nature. They may or may not resonate for everybody, so please do take what is for you and leave what isn't for those of you liking and sharing the videos. Thank you so much. It does help others to be able to see these messages that might not otherwise. If you are new or returning to the channel, thank you so much for being here. I do appreciate each and every one of you and the energy that we are able to share. And as always, please do be checking out the timeless and the collective readings, as they do have insights and information for everyone. Oh, look at that. I am so excited. I love when the cards well, which is always, of course, when Spirit brings the messages through the cards that feel like that energy is what needs to be brought through in the readings. Yeah. All right, what else does Aquarius need to know? Now, you can probably see that one. I knew that one was going to come out because it just was jumping cards. Always with the jumping cards. All right. Ooh. Interesting. All right. I do hope that you guys had the most amazing February and are ready for the most amazing March. Do check out the February, also the February March 2022 reading that is live on the channel. It went live yesterday, so make sure and check that out also if you want a little bit of insight into what may be happening, be coming in, be going on for you, Aquarius, in March. All right, Spirit, let's get one more card here. Okay, or two. Good. I like that. We're going to do this, and we're going to do this. And actually, I think we're going to wait on that one till the end. So, all right. So, in general, this week you have some regeneration going on, which is so funny because you also have the devil coming in here. So, look at this. This is kind of this, to me, this card here depicts kind of that growth and that dying away. Okay, so regeneration. So you have kind of this area where it looks like embers to me, like a soft glow of maybe fire, right? So that burning away, that letting go of, and then you have this beautiful green coming through, this green and blue, and it's a tree growing, right? You can see just little blossoms of leaves here with that green, potentially a little flower here, kind of almost this magical kind of essence coming in. It also looks like there is some energy coming down, could be a little bit of rain, kind of hard to tell, but this is letting go of the old and regenerating, that regeneration. Almost what it makes me think of cells, like within the body, how the cells regenerate within the body. So this is kind of taking on a new image or a new picture, creating a new life, having that new kind of blossoming, that rebirth of sorts. So for some of you, you're going to be noticing during this time that some things feel like they are burning out or like dying out within your life. Not a physical like dying of yourself, right? But parts of yourself, fragments of yourself, pieces of yourself that no longer are benefiting are kind of moving out so that this new beautiful growth can come in. This is coming in kind of as a new beginning, a rejuvenation of sorts as well. So some of you have this beautiful magic kind of showering in and these new little blossoms that are beginning. So some of you have been planting seeds and those seeds are starting to take root and they're starting to kind of come up out of the shell, and you'll start to see those changes kind of growing within your life as these things fall away down here, as those embers kind of burn away what isn't working anymore, and that new growth begins to take hold, that regeneration kind of coming in here. Beautiful, beautiful. And then with that devil here, this is really indicating letting go kind of habits or beliefs or limitations or potential toxic kind of anything within the life, whether that's relationships, whether that's within partnerships, whether it's within work and career. I know sometimes there's this idea that toxic energy doesn't really have a place in the workplace, but there is. We can have toxic bosses, toxic coworkers, and we can actually even take on toxic attitudes ourselves while in the workplace, right? So there is this devil energy kind of comes through within many facets. It could be, letting go of overeating, as far as this burning away with the embers. It could be letting go of over shopping. It could be letting go of over consuming YouTube videos. I mean, there's so many different ways, but that is what is kind of burning away with this regeneration. And with the devil card, that is what is coming through, is that whatever kind of toxic or almost addictive or sometimes even abusive, as far as our thoughts and our words can sometimes be to ourselves, there's that saying that if you wouldn't say it to your sister, your mom, your brother, your dad, your best friend, don't say it to yourself, right? So that is those are kind of burning out. Those are kind of dying away during this time. And there's kind of that new blossoming, that new growth, that magic coming in that is really going to kind of take over. Whenever you take something away, there needs to be something put in its place. Otherwise, we can have this feeling of emptiness or this feeling of like a gap within things, right? So whenever we kind of release or burn off, right, let go of something that isn't beneficial, we need to replace it with something that is beneficial. So like if you, when I quit drinking pop, I started drinking unsweetened iced tea, right? Now it still has a little bit of caffeine, not as much, and not the sugar, right? Because unsweetened. So when I quit drinking soda pop, just over a year ago completely, and that was really all I drank besides coffee. When I quit drinking that, I replaced it with unsweetened iced tea. Okay, so when we take something away, there needs to be something put in, right, as an idea. Otherwise we feel like we're missing. The same thing with having diets or having now I'm not a dietitian or any of that. This is just my thoughts or my opinions, right? When we take something away, or when we tell somebody, like somebody who maybe has high blood sugars or something of that effect, when we say you can't have this chocolate cake anymore and you can't this and you can't that, right? What happens when we tell a child no? Just the same. That's exactly what they want to do. That's exactly what they want, is that chocolate cake. Or with the child and telling them don't touch that, that's exactly what they want to do, is to touch that. So when we can replace it with something else, or redirect the attention, the focus onto something else, or even moderation, right? Maybe, of course, you can have that chocolate cake, but maybe just have half of what you would normally have. Or, no, you can't touch that doll, but here's a doll that you can play with, as far as like a child, and redirecting energy, all of that, right? So when we take something away, we can, redirect towards something else, such as the soda and the unsweetened iced tea. So, and then you also have here, that was kind of a rant there. Hopefully you're still here. Hit the like button if you're still here with that. Then you also have the Seven of Wands coming in with that. And that Seven of Wands is letting that feeling of vulnerability, letting yourself feel that little bit of vulnerability, and continuing on the path, continuing to persevere and move into that growth, that new kind of blossoming that's coming through, letting that stuff go away, even in those moments where it feels scary and you feel kind of fearful about it, right? We don't sometimes know who we're going to be on the other side of that, whether that is stopping drinking soda pop, maybe stopping drinking alcohol sometimes, not watching videos or consuming so much YouTube, or, consuming different dietary things. Sometimes we don't know who we're going to be on the other side. And that can be fearful. That can keep us stuck in patterns. That can keep us stagnant. So if you really can just persevere and continue with that Seven of Wands there, continue moving, let yourself feel that vulnerability and continue, and you're going to see that new growth. And before you know it, as quickly as the days pass, the days are going to pass anyway. So as quickly as the days pass, months will go by, weeks will go by, and potentially years will go by. And at some point, you really won't notice that anymore. The time moves so quickly, Aquarius, that making changes in the first little bit feels very heavy. But then it begins to get easier. Okay. And then you also have a leg up coming in here. So the leg up is, this is going to be support. So people supporting you around you. Now, when I stopped drinking alcohol, if I've done a video on that, or it's been in one of the readings before, I really had to keep myself out of situations. And in doing that, I was actually giving myself a leg up by not putting myself in situations where that might have been kind of destructive, or kind of potentially would have potentially been me falling off the wagon, so to speak, right? So we get leg ups or legs up from all different places. We can give ourselves a leg up by knowing situations, knowing where we, might be triggered, or where we might feel kind of pulled back into old patterns, old kind of loops, right? But we also can have legs up from other people, from spirit, from community with support, right? Depending on where you're at and where that regeneration is coming in, what it is that you are letting die away during this time and moving forward, and what it is that you are calling in and or replacing that with, and what is now blooming. So, really tune in. If you need a leg up, if you need support, if you need help with whatever it is, look for that, ask for that. People don't know that you need it unless you can speak up, and that includes sometimes spirit and divine. They always know everything, but a lot of times the whole thing is that they need you to ask for assistance. They can't intervene with free will, and a lot of times that is how people feel as well. They feel like they don't want to meddle, or kind of get in, be a nosy kind of Nancy, or what have you. They don't want to do that or overstep. So if you're needing help, ask for that leg up, ask for that support. You also have the Page of Wheels or Pentacles and the Page of Swords. So double pages coming in here, which is being indicated that double page and that double page energy is coming in as this reminder that, sometimes we feel like we are kind of going back into this kind of childlike energy, which is positive, beautiful energy, but sometimes we can feel childish, or weak is the word that's coming through with that, when we are letting things go, when we're letting ourselves be a little bit vulnerable. And Spirit is indicating that that is not at all what this is about. This is about kind of stepping into your higher level, empowering yourself to really be open to having this change that will be a balancing, beautiful change, and allowing it to be. And also tuning into that childlike curiosity of where you were when you were younger, and how open you were, and how quickly you could change kind of paths or pivot, and how more often than not, now sometimes children, when things change, do throw a fit or a tantrum, right? But more often than not, right, if you're going to the park and then it ends up being Chuck E. Cheese, they're overjoyed. And so really having that kind of overjoyed spirit and feeling within you. So the Page of Wheels or the Page of Pentacles is really about setting those expectations for yourself and expecting good things to happen, good things to come through. So, of course, if you're setting that expectation for yourself to let go of whatever is trying to work its way out of your life and to allow other beautiful things to bloom and blossom, then that is going to be a great expectation. And then with the Page of Swords here, that Page of Swords is coming in as this reminder that you do sometimes need to, now look at the stance here, need to fight for what it is you want. That means consistency. That means continuing. That means if you fall off the wagon, not beating yourself up or being guilty or shaming yourself, but just jumping right back on to the wagon, continuing, beginning again, and staying it within that kind of curiosity, which we already talked about, and really, really allowing yourself to step into that energy of already being on the other side of whatever it is or however it resonates with you there, Aquarius. And the Knight of Wheels coming in here at the end of the reading. We are going to get one more card, but that Knight of Wheels or that Knight of Pentacles is just talking about what we already have, that consistency. If you fall off the wagon with whatever this is, just getting right back on, not shaming yourself, not blaming yourself, not feeling guilty, not, none of that, because none of that is productive. It doesn't help you in any way. It just keeps you feeling small. Now, when you can just get right back on and then continue, right, and have that repetition, that consistency, then you get to have kind of that feeling of that joy and that excited expectation in knowing that each day or each moment, however it works for you and however that resonates for you, is one step forward. So always moving forward within that, okay? The steps backwards sometimes are bound to happen, but we all have those moments, Aquarius. And so not beating, we had a little fuzzy flying through, not beating yourself up or what have you, because when we do that, we tend to get into a whole different state that is really toxic as itself, okay? Now let's see if we, as far as a lesson or guidance support for this week, these cards I don't use very often because they have information on both sides, and that kind of throws me off a little bit. Oh, there it is. Okay, so let's see. Today's lesson, or this week's lesson, as I knock everything over here, is see the good in everything. See the good in everything. And so this one says, this is a day for or a week, because we're using this for the week. This is a day, a week, for optimism only. No matter what comes your way, your task is to see only the favorable attributes to it. Your goal, if you should choose to accept it, is to practice the power of positive thinking. So I'll put that there so that you can see that. So practice the power of positive thinking. Does that mean that your thinking has to be positive all of the time? There is this also kind of toxic positivity in a lot of spaces. Positivity, shifting thoughts, refocusing, reframing, that is all beautiful. There are moments when we don't do that. And there are moments when things are just a little bit more than that, and allowing yourself those moments, allowing yourself that vulnerability, allowing yourself those emotions, right, is healthy. It's healthy. So yes, focus on what it is that you do want. Notice where you're putting your focus, where you're putting your attention, and also let yourself feel the feelings. Sometimes I feel like I go back and forth on that, as I do believe it is very, very beneficial to notice what it is that you want and go after what you want and focus on the positive and keep your attention towards, abundance and overflow. And yet I know that there are moments or gaps of time potentially where that doesn't feel like it's possible for a moment, and allowing yourself that emotion, allowing yourself that vulnerability to sit in that and to feel that, to move through it, is beneficial as well. So know that, being positive all of the time is probably not it. Well, I say probably, in my opinion, is not really something to, that is achievable, as there is stuff that happens. There's grief, there's emotion. So wherever you fall in on that, I do work to stay more on what it is I'm kind of wanting or calling in, and yet I know that there are both sides of the coin, and that emotion and that vulnerability is beautiful and beneficial. So Alrighty, I do intend this resonated with you and for you. If it did, please do hit that like button and share this video. It does help others to be able to see these messages that might not otherwise. Also hit that subscribe button and the bell icon, as well as clicking that little all notifications box so you're notified every time I upload new readings. As always, I do wish you lots of hope, lots of joy, and lots of love with all of your current and future endeavors, and I'll see you in the next reading.